Hello everybody, it's Kirsty, the criminal astrologer. This case is on Cheyann Klus, who disappeared in November of 2017 from Illinois, USA. Let's have a look. So let's have a look at the chart for the 29th of November. 7:08 a.m. I'm using because, as you'll see just here and previously, it's hard to see, but that is actually, I'll just get this right, make sure I'm saying it right. That's the last text that we saw from Cheyenne to her friend Chad. Obviously, it's the last text I can see visually. I cannot find any more texts or more information on any further texts that she made. There is rumour, obviously, that she was alive the next day and the day after, but I can't go by that because there's no definitive proof. Brian may have posted pictures a day later when he woke up. Or, you know, there's lots of different scenarios. So even though this is from Chad's phone and we can see that there's been some things deleted and we haven't seen a few things, so it's what I am erring on the side of what's called a lie chart. And that doesn't mean that he's specifically lying, but I just don't know if this time is really truly the last time that Cheyenne was seen or spoken to. So, going with the method that I always go with in situations like this, I've erected that chart, 7:08 a.m. Downers Grove. She actually travelled to Chicago, but because I can't really put her in Chicago at 7:08 a.m. I'm using Downers Grove, but it's close enough not to make a difference to the chart. So what we have here is 8 degrees 28 on the ascendant, so we're going to use 8 miles, 27 degrees on the end of the matter, so we'll also use 27 miles. Obviously in the next video, because this one will be too long, we'll go out even further. So Cheyenne is actually represented by Sagittarius, which is Jupiter. Jupiter sits in the area of friends. The perpetrator, or the person that she was with, or whomever caused her to disappear, is represented by Mercury. And Mercury is our friendships, our brothers, sisters, cousins, people that we live near, people that we grew up with. That's represented by Mercury. Mercury is at 28 degrees, tightly conjunct Saturn, which is the planet of death, at 27 degrees in the first house. So it seems to me that her friend, or someone she knew of, someone she knew for a long time, was in front of her at this point in time. And what I think is that there needs to be some further questioning on the side of this very, very possessive friend. We have a relationship between Jupiter and Mercury. There is an aspect between the two. So there's a relationship between the two, not necessarily a lovers or whatever, just a relationship. They know of each other. This actually shows that she, to me, is in the presence of her friend at the time. Now, whether that's Brian or Chad is to be seen at this point. Mercury's in a horrible spot here. Mercury's the perpetrator. It's right next to Saturn, and Saturn is death, so it puts the perpetrator near her physical body at this time of the morning. and you would be led to think that it could possibly be who she was with. Now, the person she was with has come forward and given all information and been very upfront and forthright, shown all of his texts and computers and everything, and as you'll see shortly, he shows genuine concern. From this, I don't see that Cheyenne was with Brian at this particular time. Or if she was, there was actually another person there, because Brian was so passed out drunk. Now people are saying 18 hours being asleep, impossible. That's not impossible. It's certainly not impossible if you've had a big night, and if you're the type of person that can sleep for ages. I personally have slept for 17 hours straight many times, and I'm not a drug addict. I don't drink. Sometimes people's bodies just do that. So you can't assume because he said he was asleep for 18 hours that his alibi is nonsense. So I can't take that as being, okay, he's done something. Now, the moon is the co-ruler of Cheyenne, and that is in Aries, in the 4th house of the womb and the tomb. To me, this being in this position shows me that she was at a point where the end of her life was coming up quite soon after this time. Let's go to the 3rd house cusp and see about the phone call itself. This is what I would normally do first, so I'm backtrack a little bit. So the text at 7:08, we look at the 3rd house cusp. It's ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius's ruler is Saturn. Saturn is tightly conjunct the suspect, so I cannot rule out that the suspect themselves used the phone. That's what that is indicating. Aquarius itself is the natural ruler of friendships, and this house here, where Cheyenne sits. The text doesn't quite show us where she was at that time, and what it shows us more than anything is that she probably didn't even make that text, and that the perpetrator actually texted. So how do we see? Is it somebody who is jealous, a friend who wanted more than a friendship? Is it a boyfriend that didn't get what he wanted? Was it an accident? What's going on here? So the perpetrator is Mercury, and Mercury is friends, and 2 people. It can represent 2 people. So there's a chance that 2 people actually do know about what has happened to Cheyenne. Venus in Scorpio here is at 27 degrees along with Saturn. They are in aspect with each other. It shows that is a jealousy area, and it's hidden jealousy. So that's concerning, that there's hidden jealousy going on between the suspect and Venus, being a woman herself, and that's Venus and Mars. Most of us know that. Now Mars itself is also making an aspect to both of these. So that means that there's anger, which is also followed by the moon, which co-rules Cheyenne. The moon, which is also Cheyenne in Aries. Aries is represented by Mars, and this shows anger at the end of her life. So there is anger, a male, a relationship, jealousy, and a friend. And that is all very clear here, coming from over here where the perpetrator is and over here where Cheyenne is. It makes sense that people assumed or possibly thought that that could be a problem, because Jupiter, which is Cheyenne, is trining at 10, trining Neptune, which is drugs and alcohol, in the 3rd house of communication. It's possible at this time that she was maybe recovering from having a drink or something like that, but it doesn't show, because it's a trine. I mean, that sometimes can show an easy death of an overdose, because Jupiter is more than you need of something. But being in the 3rd house here is more along the lines of rumour and innuendo and things like that. So the 8th house here, which is the ruler of the house of death, is in Cancer, and that is ruled by the moon in the 4th house, which is the womb and tomb. So if Neptune was up here, or this was Pisces on the 8th house, and that was making an aspect to Jupiter, then I would say yes, it's possible that there was a drug overdose, an accident or something like that. But this 8th house is actually showing, well, more than anything, it's showing that she was possibly, near her home or at somebody's home at the time that this happened. Now, it also shows that she's within the vicinity of this angry person who's emotionally, which is Cancer here, distraught, and angry, which is Aries. So you'll see that there's a pattern there. It doesn't quite show an accidental drug overdose or anything. It does show that somebody wanted her home, around them, to make a family, to go forward in life, etc. And I don't think Brian was that. Here's a picture of Cheyenne. It's very beautiful. Some information. She was only 22 when she went missing in November 2017. When she left her home, she took her laptop and just a few bits of clothing. So it seems as though she was just planning on going to Brian's house. She went to Brian's on the 27th of November, and that's when photos were posted. Now, then early hours of the morning of the 29th, her friend Chad received these desperate texts. That's 2 days difference. We cannot really assume that Cheyenne was there on the 29th at that morning. There's quite a lot of time that could have gone by where she wasn't there. She was maybe taken away, or whatever's happened could have happened in that time. Now, interestingly, as you would have heard before, December 11th, Cheyenne's phone made a call to 911. I haven't got a time for this, so if anybody has a time, that would be great. It was traced to the Mallard Lake Forest Preserve. Now, I have done a map up, and I'll put that in the next video because it is interesting. A lot of areas in that chart actually go towards Mallard Lake, but a specific area of it. So I think it's important that they actually continue to look there. But I'm actually using different points of interest as well. Not just Brian's house or Cheyenne's house, but also her friend's house. He has 2. So in the next video you'll see the maps, and just a quick preview of the maps here. And I'll go through all of that and where I think that Cheyenne should be looked for. Now here's more of Cheyenne. They did search for her a couple of times, They had dogs. They searched 86 acres. People, get my words together. People joined to search for her and did search a lot of area, specifically looking for her phone in that one area that it pinged, but never actually found it. Now, as you would have noticed before, her mother passed away the year before, and she was battling with a bit of depression, but personally I don't think it's great to put that there initially, because a lot of people lose family members and battle with depression. That doesn't usually mean that they're going to take themselves off and vanish. So I don't believe that she took herself away and did anything to herself. Here we have a couple of months before she was missing, she was arrested with an older man. She was charged with obstructing identification and illegal transport of alcohol. Okay, well there you go. That sort of shows us a little bit of this here. Oh, the alcohol. Now this chart is for 8/31. As you'll see, it's really hard to see, but this is the time that Chad replied to Cheyenne saying, "Sorry babe, I just woke up," as you'll see. Okay, so what's different about this chart? Now we have Mercury is still the ruler of the perpetrator, but Mercury is much closer to this line here, which is Cheyenne. We have 26, 27, 28. Whenever I see a pattern like that, 26, 27, 28, that's always a good area to search. It's a wedge. So that is 296 to 298 degrees on the map. So I'll be looking there. So at this time it starts to tighten in on the fact that the perpetrator is even closer to Cheyenne. Now Jupiter, which is Cheyenne, has moved up into the 10th house. The 10th house is into the public, so possibly brought out of the home or wherever she was and out into the public. Now because it's reliant on texts, all of this, I go to the 3rd house cusp as normal. This time we have Neptune and Pisces on there. So to me that also shows that this text was actually sent under some type of false pretenses. So now we have deception and Cheyenne up here. These texts actually don't make sense with what I'm seeing time-wise with the charts. The moon, which co-rules Cheyenne, is now in the 3rd house, which would actually put her in a vehicle at this time. So that shows her going out of an indoor area to outside in the public, into a vehicle. And as you'll see, there's this red triangle here pointing to Pluto. Pluto is the destroyer. It's the transformation. And in an event chart like this, not a good one. It's a wide aspect, 12 degrees and 17 degrees, but this shows me that she's in what I believe is the back of a vehicle, and she's not in good shape. And this is at 8:30 in the morning. So I think that both parties, her friend and the person she was with, should have their, hopefully they did, but should also, if they haven't, should have had their vehicles fully checked out, especially the boot, or the back, the trunk, I should say. By this time, to be perfectly honest, this looks as though she's actually deceased already by 8:30. So this perpetrator, the person, the friend, the possibly two people, a friend and his friend, a friend and his cousin, there's a few variations of what this could be, was absolutely in front of Cheyenne at 8:30, well, from 7 until 8:30. All of these charts, not all, both of these charts do not appear to be viable in terms of the timeline and the information that I've gathered, and I have to absolutely 100% question the validity of where the texts came from, and that is her friend. Now, there's a few things that I will say, and that's what I noticed from the video. And what I noticed more than anything was Chad is very, very overprotective of Cheyenne. Extremely overprotective. The texts are babe, babe this, babe that. He says himself that he got in fights because of men that liked her. There's videos that he made about her. He has a very, very, very high opinion in his mind of Cheyenne, or did have at this time. So when someone like that pops around, personally I believe that you need to have a look at those people. The other person that she was with has said and showed everything. I'm not sure whether her friend has, but he has, as you'll see, said a few things that have, well, it raises flags to me, because it's what people say when they're trying to deflect information, and you'll see that now. I felt compelled to do Cheyenne's. I feel as though it's possible that she could be found soon, and I think whoever did something to her needs to be held accountable. So my next video will be a map. I do know that other people have been asking me to do different cases, but sometimes I just have to do the ones I'm drawn to. I wasn't even going to do any cases, and this just jumped into my face and I had no choice, and I've been sitting here for a couple of hours doing it. So there's a reason why I do the charts for these people, and I felt very compelled to do this one. So to everyone that's written to me, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about other charts, and they will come, but at the moment I really wanted to do Cheyenne. Okay, if anybody knows anything, please call the information in the description. If anyone knows where Cheyenne is, if she is alive, or has any information on where her phone may be, who may have made her phone, may have made the phone call, anything like that, or if any of my beautiful subscribers know a time that she made the 911 call, that would be really good to help try and locate her as well. Okay, thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch my video, and I truly hope that you're all keeping safe and well, and love to you all. See you later. Bye.